Well, hey guys, so today we're joined by Cindy, who works for EY. Thank you so much for joining us today, Cindy.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
So first off, can you take us back when you were preparing for college? How did you decide on your major?
So, like probably many of you, my process for deciding, it wasn't like I, immediately knew what I wanted to be. It was kind of just an elimination game. I knew I didn't want to be a doctor. I didn't want to be a lawyer. I didn't want to be a politician, so on and so forth. I had certain things that I was interested in growing up. So money was a big interest of mine. Not just, making it, but how to manage it. Yeah. How to manage it, how the world works, how the financial markets work. I was always curious about like how this world kind of revolved around this thing. So I decided that the business school was the best route for me. So again, while I didn't have a specific career in mind, I decided the business school was kind of the best path and option.
So who or what influenced you to go down this career path?
My introduction to accounting class was not easy, and I wouldn't even say that I excelled or did great in it. But out of all of them, I did feel like it was the one that challenged me the most, and I felt like there were so many different layers and concepts that fit in to exactly what accounting was. One class doesn't teach you everything, and I was curious to know more and curious to learn more about it. So I wanted to, the accounting class kind of gave me the foundation of debits and credits and whatnot, but I definitely wanted to learn more. And again, kind of along that elimination process, technology and codes and that kind of stuff is not my strong suit. So I knew like the IT world was, going to be a little tough for me. So the finance accounting industry was a little bit more where I gravitated towards. I definitely did not take any accounting courses, accounting specific courses in high school. And that's totally okay. I wouldn't even say I took a business course in high school. I think my micro class was, I guess, technically considered business, but that was the closest I got. But I had a great high school experience between, the sports I did, the extracurriculars I did. I didn't choose a high school class schedule and club schedule based off my future. And I think that's so important because, that may seem like terrible advice, just do whatever you want in high school without thinking about your future. But the reality is like most people have no idea what they want to do in high school, in college, let alone, for the rest of their life. So I didn't see, a reason to force myself to take maybe certain engineering classes or business classes that I thought might get me to this potential future that was still unknown. So I did, go into Notre Dame with the curriculars that were interesting to me and the classes that I wanted to take. And I'm super grateful for that because I think what colleges look for and even what Ernst & Young looks for is not necessarily the person who has the most experience in accounting or even the most classes, but it's that passion, it's that drive. And even though, my extracurriculars like track and cross country has zero true connection to accounting, it still kind of shows your dedication and your spirit, how hard you work. So again, I think when you're in high school and when you're thinking about what courses, take what's interesting to you and don't necessarily think like I need to adhere to a specific club and class schedule that will set me up for the future. I think in high school, kind of going back to what I was saying, I definitely recommend just trying everything. Try all the clubs, try all the classes, and honestly, don't be afraid to try it and then stop it. I know in high school, you can kind of feel like a failure if you joined the French club and then you decide I'm awful at French. But I think high school is such a fun opportunity to do whatever you want, to do whatever sport you want, and try anything. I mean, I've played a lot of different sports in high school. I took lifeguarding classes, just whatever I wanted. And you'll never again, in college, you do get that experience, but it's such a cool time of your life when you're surrounded by your friends and your family as your support system to do whatever you want. And in high school, there are so many clubs and opportunities available to you. Don't just do a club because you think a college will be interested in it or, see you in a better light. I think, as somebody who now actively participates in recruiting, I would rather see somebody talk about this super cool project that is totally unrelated to accounting than necessarily hear them talk about, a accounting related club they're in that they may not, really feel passion towards, or, you can tell they're kind of doing it because they think it makes them look good. So coming from the other side and being a part of recruiting and recruiting students, I can 1,000% see when somebody is interested in something versus, doing it because they think it's the right thing to do. I think what's really cool about this profession, and the partner that I work with always says this, is the fact that as a professional services employee, you're not selling any specific product. It's not like I sell something like a cell phone or a food product. You're really selling yourself, and the reason why clients hire you is because of yourself, and you're the one with the value in this industry. And so it's really cool because it's a reflection of how much work you've put into your engagements and how much you have learned and all the research and hard work that you put in. And I think that's really cool. And I think it can seem kind of daunting at first, especially because as a high school student and even as a college student and up until I first started, you're like, I don't know anything. I don't know what I'm doing. Everything's very new to me. So it can definitely seem daunting to think that a client is paying for your services. But I think it's really cool to be in an industry that values you and as a result puts in effort to train you and teach you and give you, all the resources at your fingertips to do what you need to do in your job. So yes, you have products that you deliver and things like tax returns and other stuff in order to be compliant with rules. But in the end, it's the client that's paying for your services and your knowledge, essentially. Kind of going back to the idea of do everything and try everything. As soon as I knew accounting was kind of the route I was interested in or even wanted to pursue, I went to all of the events. And luckily, I went to a college campus where the big four accounting firms, which are Ernst & Young, PwC, KPMG, and Deloitte, they host a variety of speaking events and educational events to even teach you, like, what is tax, what is audit, what is advisory. So the big four is just kind of a common term used to describe the top four leading accounting firms. And there are, plenty of accounting companies in the world and in, the United States that you could kickstart your career with. But I knew I was probably interested in one of the bigger ones just because, again, we're in an industry where you are the value. And so being with the bigger company, I wanted a team that could provide me the resources and, the teaming and the collaborative nature in a larger size where there would just be ample resources. So as soon as I knew that, I went to all of the speaking engagements. I went to all the events. I met so many professionals, and honestly, it was the Ernst & Young people that really was the reason why I pursued the Ernst & Young route. So in my sophomore year, I did what's called leadership programs, and a lot of the accounting firms have this to some extent. And if you aren't familiar, a leadership program is essentially a few days where, pre-COVID, they flew you to the office and hosted you to get a better idea of what it means to work for the firm. So you had icebreakers, you had speakers, you did group activities, you also had nice dinners and stuff. And through these leadership programs, I got a better idea of not only what it means to work for one of these accounting firms, but of the people, and even just learning about the different industries and different groups within, EY, for instance. So through these leadership programs, it became clear quickly that EY was the one that I was most interested in. And I'm honestly super grateful for attending all of these sessions and being a part of all of these leadership programs, because it teaches you so much more than what is EY or what is accounting or what is a Big Four. There are so many skills and knowledge that I got to soak up, whether that was logistically what is accounting, or what is it like to work for this company, and what do the people around me look like? What do the people that are also doing the leadership program look like? And this eventually led to my internship offer, where I interned at EY, and then eventually the full-time job. So that's why I say try everything. You can dislike it, you can drop it, but it was really just trying everything and going to different events that interest me that led to my journey here. To me, an accountant is one of the parties responsible for our financial markets. We are responsible for making sure that the companies are following rules to stay compliant, and thus ensuring a fair market for everyone to participate in. So I think that's one major aspect, is making sure we're following the rules so that everything is fair. And then secondly, we also provide advice and planning strategies for these various, clients that we may have. So, a big part of what we do is following the rules, but a big part of what we do is planning to see how can our clients form entities and structures and essentially do business in a way that will be beneficial to them. As a staff, your role is definitely more important than you think. Again, you come into it thinking, I don't know what I'm doing, and not knowing anything, but we take you under our wing pretty quickly, and we do kind of show you those two components that I just mentioned. So a big part of your role will definitely be making sure that companies are compliant. So for instance, that may be preparing a tax return. On the other hand, you also get freedom within that. So for one of my clients, I was able to work through a method in which we calculated certain adjustments, and I was able to improve that method. And that was just me on my own using, Google and Excel tricks to do so. So I took some of our more manual processes and through, again, the use of simple Google and asking questions and Excel tricks, I was able to streamline that so that it was no longer taking as much time as it was previously. And even though, I put in time researching and looking up things, in the end, in, the next year and the year after, we can use that same process and it'll save time in the long run. So as a staff, there's definitely freedom for you to take ownership of a project and a task and see what ways can I improve this. And while it is about following the restrictions and the rules that the IRS provides, within the work we do, there's freedom to make things efficient. There's freedom to ask questions about, like, why did we do this last year, and why does the work paper look like this? So there's so much freedom in this job to take what we have done in the past and learn from it and try and make it new. So that's kind of like the compliance, what we call compliance side of the work. And I think on the more consulting role, there is also that same freedom where a client may come to us with a question and you go ahead and research. And sometimes, that does look like Google. And we do have tools and resources here to look up code sections and rules and whatnot. And EY provides everything. So you don't need to come in with any sort of, pre-knowledge of the rules and regs, the regulations. So I'd say you definitely have an important role from the get-go. Every single team member on our teams is important, and play a specific role. So, yeah. One of the biggest, I think, memorable moments is honestly just the friendships and the relationships that I've built with my team. Coming in, again, to such a large company like EY, a lot of different people are starting at the same time you are. And so it's almost like super easy built-in friends where everyone's going through the same thing at the same time with the same nerves and the same excitement. So it's been really awesome kind of seeing the people I started with 2 years ago progress and learn and just get closer. And I think that's been really awesome is seeing all of us start from knowing nothing to now becoming seniors and leading our engagements and teaching staff and seeing so much change happen in 2 years. It's really special to see. And I think, again, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to be part of such a big company is because I wanted a group of people in my corner and on my team. And that has honestly been one of the most invaluable experiences here is having that group of people by my side to bounce ideas off of and even to stress with and oftentimes complain and, whatever it may be, we can just be there for each other. Yeah, so I think, if there's a few takeaways from this chat, it's that you don't necessarily have to be the smartest one in the room and have gotten the best grades. I think when I look at what's made me successful so far is being personable and maintaining a good attitude. That gets you so far in this job because we are, a very, very big company. And with that comes a lot of clients and a lot of client problems to solve and a lot of, tax returns to do. So it can be overwhelming to start and know that you're a part of something so much bigger. And so honestly, just staying positive and being curious and staying open to learning and being a team player will make you so much better at your job because, again, I don't sit in an office all day and I don't, stare at my computer and talk to nobody. I'm constantly on calls. I'm constantly talking to people and being able to be a team player and communicate with your team and be enjoyable to work with is honestly such a big part of our job. And I think it's undervalued. And I just want to, reassure you if you don't know what you're doing, if you feel like I don't have any experience in accounting or I don't know much about financial markets, if you didn't grow up around this kind of stuff, it's okay. Just keep learning, just keep asking questions, just keep being friendly. And we're so team oriented that even your question about what's been fulfilling has been seeing my teams improve and seeing my fellow classmates grow into these senior roles and start learning so much and teaching other people. And it's just, while there have been, cool things that have gone on with clients and good work that we've won, it really is the people that I think 99% of our professionals will say is the reason that we're still here is we love working together and we love being part of a team and being one group. And that is, I think, such an important part of being an accountant. I would say, again, the biggest achievement is when I am able to teach a staff something and then watch them blossom from 1 week on the job to a year in. And it's so valuable. And even, last Friday, I was on a call with one of my staff and we were just reminiscing about when she first started. And I think I taught her one of her first assignments and then up till now in which we're working on an assignment together and I'm able to say things to her like, I trust you, go ahead and do it. Or I know you got this, just work on it. And I trust you to be able to take your own spin on it and improve it however you see fit. Whereas in the beginning, you might be a little nervous and be like, is this okay? Can I do this? Is this correct? But it was really cool to be able to talk to her, nearly a year later after she started and just see how much she's grown and improved since then. So I think that is such a huge sense of accomplishment, and definitely some of my proudest moments are seeing the staff improve, and I love seeing them get better, or even like trying something on their own that's new and they came up with themselves, and they improve this process. It's really cool to be able to see the mentorship and that sort of kind of like peer connection, and pass on knowledge that way. I would say one challenge is the fact that tax is always changing. The accounting world is always changing. So here we always joke we'll never be out of a job because things are always changing and clients will always need us. Yeah. And, to some extent it's true. Clients will always need us to ask questions to, give advice to. They'll always need us to keep up with the latest regulations and whatnot. So that's definitely a challenge, is even within the past few years, different regulations have changed, different laws have changed. And one of the reasons why I decided to go the tax route is because people would say when you're in tax and things change, it doesn't matter whether you started yesterday or you've been here for 10 years, everybody is starting with this new information. Yeah. And I've seen that be true. And it's really interesting to be kind of like a fresh perspective and fresh face when these kinds of things happen, because it's also a cool opportunity to see the different dynamics of teams, because a partner may have all this experience that they're bringing to the team, but the staff and the seniors can really be that extra fresh ear to ask questions and question things and try and get a different perspective on a new rule or new regulation. So it's definitely challenging having things constantly change, and sometimes you learn something and then it feels like a new rule is coming up, but it's also part of the learning of this job. And it is cool when you have learned something and then something changes, but you're still able to kind of apply that knowledge and apply what you've learned in this new, whether it's law or regulation or whatever it may be.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Cindy. It was really awesome to chat to you, and we hope we've inspired more high school students out there to consider a career at EY.
Thank you so much for having me, and good luck to everybody.